Welcome back to Lost Legacies. I'm Matt.
And I'm Sam.
Well, we got a good one to talk about today, Sam. But first, how are you doing?
I'm doing all right.
Cool.
What about you?
I'm all right. Man, it feels good outside. It's still a little warm, but like it's raining. Oh, also, audience, I don't know. We may have audio issues, internet issues. I don't know, because that's what happens when it rains. And it was raining pretty hard, but it seems to have settled. I still hear thunder every now and then, so we'll wait. We'll see what happens.
If it keeps going, we'll just keep going. We will be podcasting in the rain.
Yeah, I've done that before. Like I've tried to open the window, but it's just way too loud with my mic.
Yeah.
It sounds like I'm underwater. Those are our August showers for Texas.
Ah.
Like when it rains, it pours. So, Sam, watch anything this weekend?
Yeah. Saw Day Shift.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Netflix's vampire hunting movie with Jamie Foxx. That was all right. It was okay. I keep hearing that it's that there is a sequel, but I don't know. I saw like some conflicting reports, like they're just teasing a sequel. So I don't know if they actually have a sequel coming out yet. But I want movies that stand by themselves and don't need a sequel, to like make the world make sense or make their world more exciting. It's like the movie was good. It's pretty solid. Jamie Foxx is good. Snoop Dogg is in it. He's great. But yeah, like I don't know. I felt like there was too much world building that ultimately for this story just amounted to nothing. It's like every other scene we're getting a little bit more lore about vampires or a little bit more lore about the Union, which is it's a union full of vampire hunters. But it never we never go into it. Like it's never gone in depth enough like what exactly the Union is, like it just feels like it's just a job, which might be the point of the story, but yeah, I don't know. It was just kind of edited weird, but the action was really cool. The action was pretty was pretty on par. But yeah, it's also not as action packed as like you would expect a movie like this to be. So I don't know. Yeah, it was fine. It was good, but for any aspiring writers out there, make sure your movie is good enough to justify a sequel.
Yeah, I think we're seeing that a lot more and more, especially the movies that end up not being as successful. They're already going in with a plan for the next one instead of perfecting the first one.
Yeah,
and then trying more. So yeah, I don't know, not a fan of that. I, on the other hand, finally saw Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Ooh.
Yeah, man, that was a trip. I kind of feel like a little bit like Interstellar, where like I'm crying and I don't know why. Like this is just an experience. Like I kind of felt like that, except I literally like felt every feeling. I felt everything everywhere all at once, Sam. Maybe that's the point. Like all the feelings a human being can go through, I felt through this movie. It was nuts. It was crazy. Yeah, just shout out to the directors. This is only their second feature, and Michelle Yeoh is always incredible. It's really cool to see her lead something like this. It's just crazy. Like I don't know how to talk about this movie. Other than I recommend everyone go watch it. I will say when I say the movie's crazy, literally like crazy. Even I guess not. It's not a downside, but I hmm. I have a 2 point thing here
Okay.
to say. So the first point being like I was struggling a bit with this movie for probably the first hour. Like I kind of felt like this pacing was made for like the youth. But it's not a movie like made for kids. It's definitely aimed at like an older audience just because of the content, because it is a story about aging.
Mm-hmm.
But like it was so fast paced and frenetic and crazy, like not just the editing, but the story, the pacing, and the one that really got to me was the score.
Mm.
Like it once you start messing with audio, like it starts like like fritzing out people's brains. That's just kind of how we're wired like that. You could do as much crazy stuff visually as you want, and most people will be okay. But when you start messing with audio, it starts like firing off little somethings in our brains, man. And like I was getting triggered. I was like, what the hell is happening? But that being said, like I feel like all that kind of chaos, it kind of comes around because like the second half of the movie was just incredible, and it felt like they earned this ending. You know, it
Mm-hmm.
wasn't just the filmmakers giving us this amazing heartfelt story. It was like we as an audience earned it. Like we we had to experience the first half of the movie in order to
Yeah.
truly appreciate the rest. Um, that was just incredible, you know, and it's definitely a family story. And the mother, who's the main protagonist, she has a beautiful arc. The husband, the grandfather, the daughter, like each character was given their own time to shine in their own arcs throughout the film, and it was just it was incredible. I could do a bit without a lot of the silliness. I feel like we've talked about this a lot. When people try and write crazy, they
Mm-hmm.
end up going dirty, vulgar, or silly. And I don't think you need to do any of that to represent chaos.
Mm-hmm.
This one, you know, it definitely goes more silly, but but with that last hour and a half of the movie, like I'm like, you know what, it doesn't matter. We
Mm-hmm.
ended off in a really good place. Um, but also a thing to note is what I'm saying. I've heard a lot of other people say about the director's first movie, Swiss Army Man.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And I've never seen it, but that was everyone's complaints. It's like you're trying to give us this really good heartfelt story mixed with all this other like silliness. It was just kind of weird.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I don't know. That's kind of how I felt about this one, but I don't know. This might be best film of the year, man. Granted, I haven't seen a lot of films this year.
But if you watch 10 movies, this year,
This
this will
might be number
probably
one.
be, yeah. This is my number one movie of the year as of right now. And I can't think of any movie that's gonna top it.
I don't know,
With the
man.
rest coming out.
Right now, I'm fighting between this one and Prey because
Look, look, man, this apples and pears is what
yeah,
these
it just
movies
comes down
are.
to personal preference at that point,
Exactly.
you know.
Exactly. Yeah, because it's like I love Prey. Prey is in my
Mm-hmm.
top 5 for the year.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, it's like trying to compare these movies is
So yeah,
yeah, I
there's no
can't do
way.
it. What I really appreciated about Everything Everywhere All at Once, you're absolutely right. Like the way they do choose to represent chaos, is definitely that thing. But I feel like it was able to like straddle that line, and kind of like it gives it meaning, because that's kind of the point of the sort of the character who is the impetus of all the chaos. You know, the antagonist is literally a representation of nothing, the meaninglessness of life. And like everybody else is trying to like, oh yeah, like everybody else is trying to unlock like this crazy, And so yeah, they do crazy in what is their own way, you
Mm-hmm.
know. And yeah, for a lot of people it is just going, you know, blah, 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 you know, I'm gonna shout curse words and obscenities at a really high voice, and then okay, cool, like that's what works for you. Other people it's just being silly. um yeah, like I think like this movie just shows like all spectrums of that chaos. And then it's kind of like how you say, like the maybe like the last hour is kind of what gives the first hour meaning, because it does sort of like lay itself out and be like this is what's at the core of all the chaos. That's why that
Mm-hmm.
scene with two, I don't know if we want to give spoilers, but that scene where it's just two rocks in a
Mm-hmm.
vast emptiness is one of the most emotional scenes like of the year, one of the most emotional things I've ever seen. And it's
Mm-hmm.
just a moment of two rocks on the ground. And it's
Mm-hmm.
like, whoa, that like so for me it was sort of like this chaos can be represented by many things. And you know, it's
Yeah.
okay, yeah.
It's rough. It's
Yeah.
super hard to
It's
talk about this movie without spoiling it. Like,
yeah, yeah.
yeah,
But also like it's just so incredibly layered, you know, and it's like
yeah.
this you want to know more about this movie, just go out and listen to the people that made this movie. The Daniels have talked, you know, at length,
Mm-hmm.
at nauseum of how they made the movie, how they did the effects themselves. They didn't have a giant VFX team. It's literally just them and like a few other people who did
Mm-hmm.
all of the effects, you know, and just all the little like, you know, not even just Easter eggs, just all the little like things they were able to stuff into this movie. um yeah, it's just it's wild, it's wild, and I feel like it's hopefully like a like a like a stepping stone, not just for them, but for movies sort of like this, because at the core of this movie is about a multi-generational family trying to find meaning in their own life in a
Mm-hmm.
world that isn't really meant for them, you
Mm-hmm.
know. And you know, like so many people can relate to that,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. Yeah. I never want to how do I phrase this? I don't think it's the artist's job or responsibility to make something for a particular audience. You know, they're going to make what they want to make and they should be allowed to.
Mm-hmm.
I just I feel like it's kind of what kind of bums me out is like the people who I feel like who should watch this movie, they're not going to watch it and they're not going to enjoy it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because there is a lot in this about kind of, like you said, you know, it's a family story throughout generations. There's what two, daughter, mom, father, three generations of family that we're following, and the ages that encompasses. And I feel well, like okay, like let's say mom and dad, like I don't think they're really gonna dig this movie, but
Mm-hmm.
mom and dad and people of their age should go through this experience because there is a lot about, you know, generational trauma and the way the different generations treat each other.
Mm-hmm.
And now, like, this is nothing on the Daniels. I just wish we had something with this that was more accessible,
Well,
you
okay,
know?
yes, I will agree with you. I'll agree with you on that. um but yeah, this movie definitely did find its audience, and because one, because of Michelle Yao, and because of the Daniels, like there is kind of, you know, a uh uh the peer group, not the peer group, the focus of who this movie is meant for, those people are watching it. And
Oh
you know,
yeah,
like, yeah,
definitely.
yeah, but as far as what you were saying, like something a little bit more accessible, I feel like that's where Disney is uh kind of like
Mm,
spearing through that, because movies like Encanto and Turning Red,
mm-hmm,
it's a similar story that's focusing on generational trauma. Encanto is all about this magical family, and every single person in this family has an ability, has a power. They're using it for the community, they're using it for their household, except for one person. And it's that person who feels the need to, you know, over represent, overdo things, be the people pleaser, because they don't have an ability themselves. And then as the movie's going, you're like, you start to peel back the layers of like, hey, this perfect family isn't perfect. The perfect daughter didn't want to be the perfect daughter, she wants to live her own life. The person who can lift mountains, they feel like they're not good enough. They're breaking underneath the surface. Uh and it's all these things. It's like, that's a movie I think mom and dad would enjoy. I think you know,
oh
the
yeah, they've
aunts
seen
would
it.
enjoy. Yeah.
Hmm.
See, there you go. So
Yeah.
it's like that, like for us, I guess that's kind of like our movie. Turning Red is kind of the same thing, because it's about mothers and daughters, and
Hmm.
what, like, the difference is like what one generation wants out of another, what is expected, you know, what we're hoping to get out of life, what we're hoping
Hmm.
to pass along. And yeah, so it's like this movie very much is not for everyone, but the
Hmm.
subject matter is.
Right.
And that subject matter is now, I think, sort of being put out more in Hollywood.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I'm hoping that like more stories like this, not multiverse stories, even
Hmm.
though that's a whole other conversation, but specifically just this story about like generational
Yeah.
trauma and trying to
Yeah.
heal that. Yeah.
Yeah. I saw this thing online that said Disney movies when we're growing up was essentially someone kills our family and now we have to go get our revenge.
Hmm.
Disney movies now is just dealing with your family's bullshit. I was like, yeah, yeah, that's kind of the differences between the
Yeah.
Disney generations. Yeah, I thought that was funny. Let's see. The other thing I watched was House of the Dragon, first episode.
How was that?
Pretty good. I think we'll talk more about it when you watch it at some point down the road. But I got no complaints, man. Like it's Game of Thrones, and I'm not gonna lie, it felt good to be back.
Mm.
As much as I hated that last season, and I had a lot of strong negative feelings about the show in general. It just felt really good to be back. It's the same guy who does the music,
Mm.
so it's like instantly you're back in that world, and it's kind of clever how he incorporates the Game of Thrones theme into it. Because I mean, it's still the Game of Thrones. It's just a different
Hmm.
generation.
Hmm.
So everyone's fantastic. I'm really curious how this is going to go because Game of Thrones is this sprawling epic with all these different characters and families that you're following, whereas this one seems like you're pretty much just going to be following one family,
Mm.
but then certain people kind of splinter off here and there because it's all about Targaryens, you know.
Yeah.
Um, so it is kind of weird that like it's 170 years before Daenerys is born, but everything looks exactly the same. You know, I was like, wow,
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah, so much for innovation.
Matt Smith, I love Matt Smith.
Hmm.
He looks awesome. He does a great job. I think he plays a excellent antagonist.
Hmm.
I'm definitely interested to see more of him. I what's kind of weird is like I really like the two actresses who play like the young girls, but there's going to be a time jump somewhere in this show because they have two other actors playing them when they're older, I guess.
Hmm.
So like I don't know anyone's ages. I guess they're supposed to be teenagers in this first episode. I don't know, which is a shame because I think both those girls had a lot of charisma, and I'm like, oh man,
Mm.
I I don't want to lose that, you know. So we'll see. Because the last thing you want is another show with a bunch of people talking politics in dark alleys, and it's just boring, and nobody has any charisma. And you're like, oh my god. So yeah,
That's
but
true.
there's a lot of actors who you'll recognize from like side parts or villains from other movies that are in this, and I'm like, oh, it's that guy,
Hmm.
and they're doing amazing stuff. You know, I really like the guy who plays the king in this. The guy who plays the king's hand is really good, and I know he's played a lot of bad guys before. I'm like, I like this guy.
Hmm.
So yeah, but trigger warning for sure. It's brutal. It is Game of Thrones, and I'm like, whew, okay,
Yeah.
um, yeah. So it was damn bloody for one episode. And I was like, I'm uncomfortable, but uh, I think it's a good thing that the creator said that like they're not going to be focused on any kind of sexual violence the way the original show was.
Mm.
Which I'm like, well, I wish we didn't have to say it, but thank you for saying it up front. You know,
Hmm.
that's good. Like, it's just why, why do we gotta have that in the stories?
Yeah.
If you're gonna take your time to make something, so that's good. But yeah, welcome back. Oh, did you see the video of all the people watching it online?
Mm-mm.
It's someone on street level, and they're looking up at this building, and like all the apartments, no blinds, all the lights are like in sync, and they're moving at the same time, and they're like, oh, they're all watching the same TV show, and it was House of Dragons.
House of the Dragon.
I'm like, oh, dude,
Interesting.
that's crazy. I'm like, yeah, Game of Thrones is back. So I wasn't gonna watch it, but it was like 1 a.m. and I'm like, I don't feel like going to bed. It's too late to start a movie, so I'm like, all right, let me just. It's my weekend, man.
Hey,
The night before I watched Everything Everywhere All at Once. So
yeah, see,
yeah,
who am I to judge?
yeah.
This is the palette that we're going with. You're you're a man of refined taste, Matthew.
Thank you. And I completely forgot to watch Lost until this morning again.
Who are you?
I know, man.
I
Let's
don't even
see.
know you anymore.
Speaking of Lost,
Hmm.
maybe we should finally start this episode. All right, we're talking about season 3, episode 21, greatest hits. The survivors prepare for war with the others, while Charlie reflects on the greatest moments of his life. Thoughts, feelings, Sam?
We finally get a damn good Charlie episode.
I know. It's like his first flashback episode where I'm like, hey, this is good.
Yeah, and I feel like the show is so less interested in telling Charlie's like backstory than it is literally everything else going around. But maybe that's fine because everything about Charlie we kind of already got. We technically already got that in his first episode. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
like how many other stories were we going to be able to mine out of, which is a weird thing to say because I feel like the has been rocker is somebody that you could definitely mine so many great stories from,
Mm-hmm.
but for some reason that just wasn't the case with Charlie.
Yeah.
you know like across these 3 seasons we've gotten very mediocre stuff, like off island from Charlie's stories. I feel like
Mm-hmm.
on island his character journey has been very interesting, has been very cool.
Mm-hmm.
um so yeah, and it's like he's an OG. He's been with us since episode 1. And we get this whole episode that's essentially like leading up to him dying. That's
Yeah.
that's like the crux of this episode. Like, no matter what happens, Charlie has to die this time. And it's like, what? Like, man,
Yeah,
oof.
man.
This is, and like this is one of those things where it's like I don't think I don't think a lot I don't think we as people are ever ready to talk about or even think about death.
Mm-hmm.
And just just the just the idea of knowing that there's something you got to do and you're probably going to die because of it, and just having to like live with that and just like go through the rest of your day, like all up until like that moment, it's like, what do you do,
Mm-hmm.
you know? Like that it feels like that right there is your moment to like start replaying your entire life in your head. And that's what Charlie's doing.
Mm-hmm.
And like I didn't get that at first until it was like, oh, because I thought he was just like writing a song,
Mm.
because we've seen him do that,
And I mean, technically,
a couple
he
times.
started those flashbacks started before Charlie finds out, so
Exactly.
he was already reminiscing.
Hmm.
It's like he knew
Yeah.
subconsciously. He knew.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Well, we found out Jack's plan, which is essentially just to blow everyone up.
which not gonna lie, pretty solid plan.
I'm like, I like it. Okay,
Yeah.
this is okay. This is effective.
Hmm. He's still being a tool about it though.
Yeah. Oh, I like when Saeed puts him in his place. He's like, no, you said you're our leader, so now you have to start acting like one. I was
Hmm.
like, ooh, so Jack's leading the people off to the radio tower,
Hmm.
and Saeed's gonna stay behind with the shooters. I'm like,
Hmm.
damn.
I feel like something's coming from that because that feels like a very, I don't know, it feels like a very other thing. It's like Jack is like, I'm gonna go do this, and then like, okay, cool, we're all gonna shoot the shoot the dynamite, but then something else happened. Like
Mm-hmm.
that's like key. That's like others plan 101. Like say you're gonna do something, it's going, and then right at the last second, hard left.
Yeah.
I feel like that's coming
And I mean,
for
and
this group.
that's definitely what happened today.
Mm-hmm.
They were supposed to attack tomorrow night. Nope. Ben's like, we're attacking tonight,
Mm-hmm.
and everyone's like, well, crap. Okay.
Mm-hmm. And what's wild, he said Jacob said that.
Yeah, he
I'm
did.
like, I don't think so.
Yeah.
I don't think so. I think this is just all Ben.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and everyone's wondering like, what the hell happened to Locke? He
Mm-hmm.
had quote unquote an accident. I'm like, oh, geez.
Mm-hmm.
But thank God for Alex and Carl, man. This Romeo and Juliet situation is gonna save everyone on the island.
I know. I know.
Always good to see Russo back. She's just showing up, teaching people how to
Mm-hmm.
blow stuff up. I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, so now we know why she was gathering
Dynamite.
dynamite.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, no Locke this week. He's still in the pit, we're assuming.
Mm-hmm.
We did see Bernard and Rose again. Haven't
Yeah.
seen them at all this season, so that's nice. Uh,
It's so weird, man. It's
I
so
love
weird
them.
just like not seeing them for the whole time and being like, "Oh yeah,
Oh yeah,
they're
they're still
here."
here. Yeah.
They didn't just like kill them off camera mid-season.
No, yeah.
Uh
And Bernard's one of the ones staying to shoot. And I guess
yeah.
Rose is gonna stay with him because I don't know. She doesn't want to
Yeah.
leave him alone.
I don't know.
They're such a loving couple. She's like, well, if you're gonna hide in the bushes, let's get you something darker to wear. I'm like, this is so cute, so lovable. So this is a good episode, man. It was rough though, man. Seeing like Charlie's essentially saying his goodbyes.
Mm-hmm. And nobody knows it except him
Nobody
and
knows
Desmond.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I love it when he has to be mean to Hurley because Hurley can't go with them.
Mm-hmm.
But then he apologizes. He's like, we'll catch up later. He's like, I love you, right? And Hurley's like, whatever, man. I love you too. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh.
I'm
And
like,
then Charlie leaves
no.
his ring with Aaron.
With Aaron,
Like,
and then it gets left behind in the crib.
uh-huh. Oh my God. They're
Oh.
laying it on thick, man.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and freaking like because that was a callback to his flashback where his brother like in like the heyday of his cocaine addiction,
Mm-hmm.
wakes him up on Christmas morning and starts, talking about, legacy and how he's not going to live to see 30 and Charlie's going to be the one to have the family, have
Yeah.
kids, and
Yeah.
the family ring that the family ring that has the initials of, I guess, one of their family members,
Yeah.
who they like named the band
Mm-hmm.
after.
This is yeah, the initials DS. Yeah.
Yeah, DS. Like that's the heirloom, and he gives that to Charlie, and I'm like, that. Oh my god, this is
Yeah.
this is such a good.
And I love how Naomi notices. She's like, "Oh yeah, you're the dead rock star."
Mm-hmm,
Drive Shaft got back together and did like a reunion album of greatest hits in your honor. I was like,
mm-hmm.
"Oh wow, talk about." Just think of what that feels like, you know?
That's weird, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, just the idea that like there are other people that get to make your greatest hits. They get to talk about your life.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's wild.
And like Charlie knows he's gonna die. No one's gonna know, you know? Like, oh, it's wild.
Mm-hmm,
Man, it's such an emotional episode.
mm-hmm,
Uh, Charlie saved the mysterious woman in an alley.
mm-hmm. She
Yep.
looks familiar. I just
Sam,
I
this is lost. There's only one Middle Eastern woman in this world. It's Nadia. Okay? She's the
That's
only
racist.
she's literally every well, no, actually the only other one was the one he tortured.
Yeah,
Remember in that restaurant?
yeah.
Okay, so there's two Middle Eastern women. Because yeah,
Mhm.
every time
No, she tortured him. Remember?
well, he tortured her, and then her
Oh,
husband it's tortured. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah. That's right.
That was
That's
earlier
right.
this season.
Okay,
But
that's
yeah,
right.
like every time a Middle Eastern woman pops up in the show, Sam, it's Nadia. Like 9 out of 10 times it's Nadia. I was like, yep,
Oh,
here we
okay. You're
go.
right. You're right. I did. I was just like, that's it. Okay. Huh. Huh.
Kind of like how Star Wars, like, there's only like one family is actually black. You know, Last Skywalker, like, oh, we brought in a black character. That means she's Lando's daughter.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I guess.
Yeah.
Why?
Weird.
But at least Lost has the excuse of everything's connected.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I think we went through all the notes. We didn't even talk about the whole point of this. Charlie has to swim down to the underwater station
The Looking
called
Glass.
the Looking Glass to
Mm-hmm.
turn off the signal that's jamming all the island communication.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. All the communication that trying like getting off the island. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just Rousseau's message, potentially Naomi's
Yeah, they're trying to
signal.
get a hold of Naomi's boat. Okay,
Yeah.
so what's the Looking Glass? That was from, is that
That's Alice in
Alice?
Wonderland. It's the sequel to Alice in Wonderland. The sequel is called Through the Looking Glass.
So what is it? Like I know what a looking glass is, but like what is it in the context of the story?
I have no idea.
Okay, well,
I've never read it.
that question's answered. Thank you.
Sorry, for me personally, I've never been a huge Alice in Wonderland fan.
Yeah, me either.
So like, yeah, I just kind of like, okay, yeah, I get it. It's a reference to something within the book, but yeah,
Yeah.
that's as far as I got.
Man, what a performance. Dominic Monaghan at the end, knocking out Desmond. And like that, when he's looking down, like before he takes his leap into the water, I was like, oh, dude.
Mm-hmm.
So I can say right now, like, I'm got to give him MVP.
Oh, 100%.
Finally,
Yeah.
Dominic Monaghan, like, oh.
Boy, we really jumped around this episode, didn't we?
We did, but I think it's better than the alternative of when we used to just recap scene by scene what happened
Minute by minute. Oh, and then there was this thing that happened. That,
and I think the way his eyebrow twitched when so and so said this.
That
God.
blade of grass when he stepped this way. Why did it not bend that way?
I feel like we talked about the movies more than we talked about Lost. Um, well,
Is that
okay,
just our podcast now? We're just talking about other stuff in the oh, by the way, Lost.
yeah.
Uh
Okay, well, since I already said MVP, is there another MVP this time around?
uh this time around, I don't think so. I don't think so. Cause again, like everybody's off doing their own thing. We're getting a lot more Jack this time around, now finally.
Mm-hmm.
He's kind of coming back into the storytelling, but yeah, for this one, it's just it's got to be Dominic Monaghan.
Yeah.
When and it's crazy because it's like we've talked about this. Like we've been building it up, and it's kind of the same way with the episode. They've been building it up this whole episode that he's gonna die, and he doesn't die.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He makes it into the looking glass, and then people show up with guns and
Mm-hmm.
they're pointing at him, and that's it. End of the
Mm-hmm.
episode. It's like, so I guess we're gonna have to. I guess maybe that'll be resolved. In the finale.
Yeah.
Uh, so yeah, it's just, but credit where credit's due. Like it was such good writing, such good storytelling, and Dominic just knocked it out of the park.
Mm-hmm.
Acting wise. And it just really sucks to if this is the end, it's been a ride, and I'm really gonna miss him.
Mm-hmm. But at the same time, like it feels, I don't know, because we need to see how the finale plays out. But like, no one really gets when you get killed on the show. Usually comes out of nowhere, but like
Mm-hmm.
they've really been building this up, So
Mm-hmm.
like, what a kind of cool way to go, especially as an actor. It's not brought on you, sprung on you at the last minute. You kind of get time to prepare. You get to go on that story that Charlie's going on as well.
Mm-hmm.
So like you said, like here we are at the end of the season, like they've teased it enough, I think, and according to Desmond and the plot, Charlie has to die. So it's
Mm-hmm.
like, we'll see. This isn't really the show that's gonna like pull like the Deus Ex Machina at the end. Oh, surprise!
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to die after all. It's like, I don't know, something
Yeah.
funky is going on. I think it's gonna have to play out
Yeah, I agree.
either way. And then like Desmond, even it's interesting what Desmond said. He's like, maybe the only reason I keep seeing you die is because I'm supposed to take your place.
Mm.
I was like, oh, that's a very interesting way of looking at it.
Mm-hmm.
Curiouser and curiouser,
Mm-hmm.
said a character from Alice in Wonderland.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. This is down the rabbit hole, Sam. That's this episode. um
Wow, we're really stretching our knowledge of Alice in Wonderland, aren't we?
I know. Something we know absolutely nothing about.
Uh-huh.
So one episode, technically two episodes left of this season, season
Mm-hmm.
finale. What are your predictions? What needs to happen next week before they wrap it up?
Dude, I don't even know.
And you know what's kind of cool? I don't
Mm-hmm.
remember.
Mm.
I don't remember. I was like, oh yeah, okay. They're prepping for the fight with the others. I kind of remember stuff like that about that. Charlie's down there in Looking Glass. I kind of remember stuff about that. I don't remember anything else. So I'm like, they're hiking to the radio tower. We're like, what's gonna happen? I don't
Yeah.
know. I don't know. And that excites me.
Yeah. I know, like, so I don't know a lot. I have not even broad strokes. It's more like when you're putting together a puzzle and there's like one piece and you're like, that's a really cool piece. And then you got another, oh, that's a really cool piece too. I have those pieces.
Yeah.
I don't know where they go on the map. I don't know where they go on the board,
Mm-hmm.
but I know them, and I'm like pretty sure this is what's going to happen in this finale,
Mm-hmm.
and one of them's pretty wild, and I wish I didn't know it. And the other one, I think, is really sad. If it's the one I'm thinking of, it's gonna be really sad, and I'm not ready for it.
Yeah.
I'm excited though. I'm excited because there's finally there's a lot, there's a lot going on. There's a lot of buildup, like we've, it's kind of like what in Jack's speech where he's just like, we keep running, and we keep hiding. That was the first thing I thought when I heard they were coming for us. Where are we going to hide this time? And it's like, yeah, but they're gonna blow them up. That sounds like a plan to me. They're only gonna be 10 of them. That sounds fun. I don't think they know that, but they
knew that once Carl showed up.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Coral.
Yeah. So now, it's like, okay, like we got our plan and we're just gonna blow those 10 to hell. And yeah, I like that. So now it's like, okay, so what's going to happen in that? Because, best laid plans, all that stuff. Like,
yeah,
that's something's going to happen there. What's going to happen with the others? Where are they going? Are they going to get there by the end of the episode? I want to know what happens to Locke. He's been in a pit of skeletons for half a day.
Yeah.
So there's a lot.
Also, now that they've already announced the end date for the show, it's like these next 3 seasons. Does this mean the pace is going to pick up? I have to wait and see.
Probably not.
Right? Yeah, there you go. It's going to go even slower now. Yeah. Well, that was fun.
Can't wait to do it again.
I know. We'll see what happens. So usually we take off the first week of the month, or we do something else, but it's one episode left, so we just gotta power through. I'm gonna have to watch it. It's double episodes, so I'm gonna have to watch it Saturday night or something. Which we'll be watching season 3, episodes 22 and 23, Through the Looking Glass, parts 1 and 2, in which war with the others begins.
Oh my god.
Anything else we need to discuss before next week?
No, I don't think so. It's been a ride. It's been a journey. We now have, after next week, we'll only have 3 more seasons of the show.
Yeah. Dang.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Wow.
Feels like
halfway.
Feels weird because I know it's not true, but it kind of feels like we just started.
Yeah, right. It does. It does. I mean, also because we're not even at our 2-year mark yet.
I know. Yeah.
Even though what show takes you that long to watch? I don't know. It still feels very early. Before you know it, we're gonna have to start planning our spinoffs. What are we gonna do once we finish Lost?
I thought we had a whole plan. We had all the other shows. We got up to season 100
of The Walking Dead,
watching stuff.
Lost,
Battlestar Galactica, Next Gen,
The 100,
It's
just everything, man.
Yeah,
it's getting nuts.
Yeah,
and when I say everything, it's because we're doing it all at the same time.
Oh no!
Yeah.
Because that's how we grow this franchise. We make it bigger.
Yeah, right.
Every single day, So it's like Walking Dead Mondays. Laguna Beach Tuesdays.
Beach, wow. Laguna Beach Tuesdays. Dang. Yeah. Dang. Yeah. And then we're just gonna have one day just dedicated to Selena Gomez, just to get our fan base up.
Yeah. I won't be there for those episodes though.
Selena Saturdays.
Oh gosh.
Yeah. Oh well. Well, guys, it's been fun. Hit us up, #Lost Legacies. What's my underscore Matt Jimenez on Twitter? I couldn't remember for a second. I got lost. Yeah, you can find me on Twitter at underscore Matt Jimenez and on Instagram at Holy Hand Grenade of Antioch.
And you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Reel, that's REEL, Texas Weirdo.
So until next time, get lost.
Get lost.